Hello and welcome along to another episode of the Wedding Band Show with myself, Brian McDermott. On today's show, I had a chat with Fergal Fay from Celtic Dance Fusion. If you have Irish dancers booked already for your wedding, or you're considering booking Irish dancers for your wedding, you don't want to miss this. So, Fergal Fay from Celtic Dance Fusion, welcome to the Wedding Band Show. How are you?
Brian, thank you. Good. And yourself?
Not too bad, not too bad. So we've been trying to make this happen for a few weeks between school runs and jobs. And how many jobs have you on today later on? 4 or 5 or something?
Three. Only three.
Yeah. You're busy though. You're busy.
It's
so look, before we get into it, how did you get started, I suppose, as an Irish dancer?
Okay, my mum was an Irish dancer, and she was doing feshes, competitions, etc. back in her day. And then she joined Gaelian Cabaret with Sean Arida, and my father was a member of Ceoltóirí Cúlan. So what happened was then they obviously went on tour, the States, UK, Europe, and then all of a sudden there was a small little band that was developed out of Ceoltóirí Cúlan, which was called the Chieftains. So my dad was one of the founder members of the Chieftains. So obviously my mum and dad were on tour, and they, that was it. So they started dating, and then my dad went professional, and obviously my mum stayed at home as a housewife type thing, and she continued dancing. So she would teach probably about 11 classes a week. So obviously when my mum was going to dancing class and my dad was away, there was no one to mind me. So I was probably dragged to the dancing class, and all of a sudden my mum said, "Sure, put on a pair of shoes." And the rest is history. So that's what happened to myself, and that's what happened to my sister, and now I have 3 kids, and that's what's happening to them.
Free dance lessons all around.
Yeah. Sometimes they're the worst. They give you the most grief.
Yeah. And when then did you start Celtic Dance Fusion? How was that born?
Okay, my mum is 60 years teaching Irish dancing this year, and we had our 40th.
Right,
yeah. She had her 40th anniversary in the Olympia Theatre. So I said, okay, right, we're going to have the dancing class do the first half, and we'll have some of the senior dancers from my mum's and myself dancing school. So we put on the second half show. So my dad and a few of the lads from the Chieftains played the kind of the first half of the second half. And then we danced, and I kind of went, do you know what? I've been in different dance shows. I've got a good set of dancers here. I'm going to start kind of, managing the show, because I always loved kind of being the creator, not the director, but being the creator. And I just went, okay, I can do this. So that's what happened. So we started off with probably about 10 dancers in Dublin, and that was happy out. And obviously the first year or two was quite slow, just getting the name built up. And then it just blew, it expanded. So I have a troupe of dancers in the west of Ireland. I have a troupe of dancers up the north, and I have about 35 dancers in Leinster. So, so it's flying.
So you can do, I suppose, if couples are trying to book you can do a few weddings in one night.
Yeah, I could do we could do a 5-man show in the west, a 5-man show up the north, and then maybe 3 or 4 5-man shows in Leinster. Not all dancers are going to be available, obviously, with exams or holidays. But, I cap it because logistically, I want to make sure all the dancers, arrive on time, perform, get home safe enough. So I'm not greedy, but we can stretch our legs, and we can do maybe 4 weddings a night, and it wouldn't affect one wedding leading into another, because it'd be 4 different cars going out. So if the wedding is delayed, it won't affect the other show. We wouldn't even know how delayed they are, because we're not going from 8 to
You're all doing your own thing.
Yeah.
So four independent bookings. That leads me on to the next question, I suppose. What's the best time for a couple that are booking Irish dancers? We get this all the time as a band. They might ask me, what time do you want them to go on? And I'm like, I don't know. Like, what's the best time for, in your opinion, to go on? Like, is it before the first dance? Is it a tea break? Is it,
because couples will say, a lot of the questions couples will say, it's the first time, like yourself, Brian, when they're ringing up, they may have only got married, they only got engaged there recently, so it's their first big wedding journey together. We do this on a nightly basis. But couples will say to me 2 questions. How many dancers do you think, and what time do you think? I would always say Preferably, I would prefer to go on before the first dance. There's a few reasons why. Because obviously the videographer and your photographer will be there still on site. They're probably booked up until your first dance. So if we go on before that, it's going to be professionally recorded by the videographer, by the photographer. Also, because our show is interactive and we get the bridal party up on the floor, have Uncle Johnny from America and Auntie Mary from Canada. Great bit of fun. So when the floor is busy and we're hopping and bopping, it's being videoed, everybody's having the crack. We're done. First dance happens, and then the band. Bands love that. I've actually asked a good few bands, probably like yourself, when do you think works best? And you said yourself that we get the audience on the floor, we get the party lifted. So then after the first dance, you've got a ready-made audience. So
no, I like it definitely before the first dance, and it's kind of a clean run for us then after. There's nothing worse, to be honest, than if you're going on like 15 minutes after the first dance, if you have to break again for Irish dancers.
It breaks the continuity. So, and I say that to the couples. I mean, if for example, Brian, if you're a band are playing the first dance, it's silly for you guys to go up, then sit down for 2 minutes. No, I'm sorry, wait for 2 minutes, sit down, and then let us go on for 35 minutes. So I always say, let it go right through that. Like, if the speeches are done before the meal, that's out of the way. Meal is done, fine. You guys rock in, get set up. We're done. We do our thing. Done. First dance done, and then the band. Continuity is great that way. Some weddings will have us on the band's break. That's fine. The thing that I find when I go into a wedding on the band's break is that, there may be only little kids dancing, jumping around, and it just doesn't look fantastic when there's only kids on the dance floor, so
usually that break, that buffet break, the crowd kind of need that anyway. Absolutely. Because if the band are doing their job, everybody's been dancing for an hour and a half. So like for you guys, then their attention is kind of gone. The hotel are trying to serve some food. You're in that, so. No, and I know we worked together, was it Salt Hill Hotel in Galway, I think, the last wedding. And I think it works great just before the first dance. Like you said, it's kind of a warm-up act. Everybody's around the floor, and then the band can kick straight into the first dance.
And it's not chopping and change. It's just, as I said, with the band yourselves, and I've asked bands, I want to find out what it works for bands like with yourselves, and they actually prefer us starting it. So then, as I say, excuse me, we get everybody on the floor having the fun, having the crack. Then obviously everybody's going to gather around the bride and the groom or the couple, do their first dance, and it just works better. 7-8 years ago, we were always on the band's break, but now it just seems that everybody said, listen, we want the party, we want you guys to kick off the party, get everybody warmed up, and we're the man, we're the guys.
And on a side note then, for another little pain point for bands, but what advice would you have to other Irish dancers when they're turning up and they're going using a band's PA? What would some advice be? If you hadn't worked with a band before, how would you approach it, say?
I will always religiously touch base with the band or the DJ. So if there's yourself and the DJ, I would always give you a shout. If there was only a DJ, I'd make sure I found out the DJ's name, give them a call, just a courtesy call to make sure everything is okay. Run through the times with them, because the bride may not have told, or the bride or the groom or the couple may not have told the DJ what the story is. So I always, as a rule, will make it my business to ring every band or DJ, just letting them know that we're part of Mary and Johnny's wedding, and that okay with you lads. And yourself, I always, when I ring you, we're gigging with each other the next week or so. So it's just a courtesy call. And to bring their own leads and iPod. I'm giving the game away. We always bring our own lead iPod, but you've had incidences before where, another dance show shows up with a CD and asks you, do you have a CD player?
Or they just hand you an old iPod and say, here, and you're kind of looking at it going, now, look, we have a lot of cables. Sure. Generally, they're in the van, in a box somewhere, but like... The first thing that I got when we worked together was the phone call. The week before, I was like, "That's a nice touch."
It's professional.
Because it runs way smoother then, because I know that this is what you're turning up with, and I'll have a little lead left for you. But at least, I think at a bare minimum, if you're turning up and you're going give the band a phone call if you can, even if you don't turn up and have a few options for the band, maybe XL or mini jack, just because you don't know what kind of mixer they're running. I mean, or like that, a DJ mightn't have as many inputs as a band,
Yeah. I mean, so some DJs will say to me, would you have it on a USB key? Knows the answer because we need to pause this, we need to forward. There's tracks that are kind of in sequential order, but we need to stop it. So with a USB key, I've no control. I'm still using the iPod, and it's bulletproof because CDs. So many dance shows use CDs. Keep using those CDs, boys, because they keep scratching. I'm winning. So.
We've had a few coming in with the little boom box and holding the mic up to it. Like we had that once or twice, but I had no option, you know, because they just came in with this CD player. They had CDs and no auxiliary out on it. Now, what I did get a while ago, a few years ago, I picked up a little Bluetooth adapter on Amazon.
Right.
Which means that in an emergency, you could connect your phone to our system via Bluetooth. Now, it's never rock solid. It's never as good as a cable, but you know, it can work in an emergency. So, if a wedding couple are looking and interested in Irish dancers, like when you're picking a band, you can go to showcases or live gigs or that. Where would you advise them to start looking, or how would you find a good troupe? You know,
a lot of couples when they're coming from overseas, Australia, America, Taiwan. We've actually got one from Sri Lanka. They just looked us up on Weddings Online, and wedding suppliers saw the reviews. Obviously, they're not going to come over to see a dance show. They may want to check you guys out. They obviously want to check us. But we've 145 5-star reviews on Weddings Online. I would just give them the link and say, listen, these are genuine customers, genuine couples. Instagram, we have an Instagram page where couples will leave their own little testimonials, which is great. And I will just show this because it's Paddy's Day.
I was going to say you won an award.
That's our 5th award. That's our 5th award.
Giving a shout out to weddingsuppliers.ie, wasn't it?
Yeah. Fantastic night. And that's our 5th one. We won Mrs. To Be.
That's a dangerous looking award with a few young kids in the house.
Oh, I know. That's why it's it's buried. We won Mrs. To Be's wedding, Best Wedding Entertainment 2016 and 19, and then we won 2 English awards there last year and this year, and then we won this little.
I think we on a plug. I think we won Mrs. To Be wedding band at 2016.
Very good
as well, actually.
Nice one.
Or was it further back? I think it was 2016.
Okay. And you were only 21.
I know that's a long time. I know that's a long time ago now. Yeah. But no, the awards are great. And I suppose definitely for the reviews for you guys.
Yeah, it's recognition. You know. Because I mean, as I say, you could be the greatest band in the world with no reviews, but people do want to see what they're going to get from other couples, because people like to read mistakes that couples made, or oh wow, that band are a hot band. We'll touch base with them. But as I said, so many couples will not come along and see us. They'll just look us up online. Other couples, they may have been at your wedding, and then all of a sudden we perform at your wedding, and then they go, oh, give us a card. We've actually there was one particular guy phoned me one time. He did all the linens, the tablecloths. And at the end of a wedding, there was flyers left on the linens, and he shook it out to wash the linens, and my flyer came out. He gave me a call, and we got the gig. It was like bizarre, you know. So,
and I suppose if you're going on, if couples are coming to see a band at a wedding as well, if you're going on before the first dance, there's a chance they might catch you by accident.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah,
you know, so that's good.
And I mean, most couples. There are couples that will say to me, "I've got 250 guests going. You know, I know it's going to be a great show. You know your own product. I know it's going to be a great show." And some of them would say, "Oh, we've got a couple of my friends getting married next year. So I mean, I'm dancing for Mary and John's wedding, but also in the back of our mind, I'm thinking there is potential business out there." So that's one of the reasons why I'm really strict who I have coming into the show, because great to win awards, but obviously we're 20 years at it. So
you're only as good as your last show.
Absolutely.
It's the same for wedding bands. Sure. Like I'd say, at least 75% of a wedding band's work comes out of work you've already done.
Yeah, referrals.
You're always getting that email where, I saw you at my friend's wedding 2 years ago kind of thing.
Well, we did a wedding, I was in Tipperary, but we did 4 brothers or sisters' weddings in the same venue with the same band. And I actually asked the third family member, why the same hotel? Why? They said it's faultless. the band, the dancing, the venue. And we did 4 weddings in the same family, all brothers and sisters. That was a bit weird. But, they liked the first time. And they kept going. Maybe they have another sister on the way. I don't know. But we'll be the 5th time then.
Yeah, we've a pocket down in Kerry for some reason like that, where we've done a lot of family and friend weddings. Out of one, like, it could have been 10 years ago.
Sure.
But we nearly, there's one little pocket down there, and anytime we end up there, it's saying, oh yeah, we did your wedding, that kind of thing.
That was like when the 4th wedding came up, and it was in Tipperary. When that 4th wedding came up, there was kids from the first wedding. Hello. I was like, who are you?
Yeah. You did my mommy and daddy's.
Yeah, there were 9. Yeah. Actually, we got a phone call there, and I do say to some of the couples, because couples will say, will it be a memorable day? Absolutely. I did a corporate gig back in 2001. Couldn't remember the guy. What happened was last October, he phoned me and he goes, how you doing? Gave me the name. Could you check your diary? So I said, yeah, we're available. He booked us on the spot, right? And he goes, I've booked you guys before. And I was like, wow. 20 years before that, he booked us for a corporate gig. And he booked us last year. We did the gig last year. Place went bananas. They were all English guests. And we came off stage and your man said, check the diary. So we're doing the 3rd gig in 22 years. So that's how much of an impact dancers make, because it's something, River Dance is 29 years old this year. It's something special.
29.
Yeah.
Jesus, yeah.
1994. And a lot of couples coming from Australia, overseas, even English, want that Irish flavour. You know yourself, Brian, as a country, we know how to put on a wedding. It's something special. We're unique. And we as a nation are very good to let our hair down, have a few drinks, and just go bananas for the couple of hours. And as the suppliers out there, there's top bands out there, top suppliers, and hopefully we're included in that category. And we know how to do it right, and they do want that kind of flavour, because a lot of couples, what they're doing is they're buying us as a wedding present for their guests coming over. So it's kind of a nice little wedding gift back. And I do say that to couples that, you don't need any little wedding favours. Maybe the Irish dancing, it will last in people's memories for years. You're getting a 5-star show, 5 multi-award winning show, and you're giving something back to the guests, which is nice.
And they'll get your flyers on the table anyway instead of favours.
And the banners.
Yeah. And is it always, or what would you say the percentage of, is it always couples that book you, or do maybe parents get it as a present or a surprise? Okay,
there's 3 ways that the show is really booked. If the couple will book it, I always call it option 1. So the bride and the groom, or the same-sex couple get, in contact with me, they book us, that's great. Or else one of the half get together and book us for a wedding present for the other half and guests. Or the last one is family members chip together, bridal party, chip together, buy us as a wedding present for the bride and the groom. But sometimes the bride and the groom will get in contact because they know their day, they know their plans. Whereas if mommy and daddy are buying us as a wedding present, I'm kind of going, okay, would you like to tell her that there's something going to happen before the first dance, in case she goes, what's going on here?
She has another troupe booked.
Yeah, and that's what actually happened. We were doing a show one time, and a bride emailed me, and I got in contact with her within the hour, and we sealed the deal. That was fine. We were in the venue, and all of a sudden I saw our competition coming across the car park into the hotel, and I said, are you here tonight? Yeah, for, the wedding, the couple, They never got a deposit. We got the deposit. Yeah. And I just said, I think there's going to be a bit of I don't know what's going to happen.
So you had a dance off out in the car park, was it?
No. We didn't even have a punch up. I just said, listen, we'll go in and have a look. So the bride just turned around and said straight out, she goes, I've been dealing with Fergal. He phoned me within the hour. Yeah. We struck the deal. You guys go home. And I was like, okay. They didn't get a deposit. So, obviously a deposit seals the deal, like with yourself.
Yeah. You don't pay deposit every time.
Date's still available. And, that's just the way it goes, because we're serious. We want to be part of the big day. So in order to get us booked in, deposit has to come in. And once the deposit's in, I send a letter of confirmation, and it's all sorted. So in 20 years, thankfully, touch wood, it's never, ever failed. It's just,
Yeah, I'm the same actually. Yeah. It's but. And I put a few stories out about this the other day. It is important to, the booking fee is what basically seals the deal.
Absolutely.
And then a few weeks after, make sure you've got a confirmation.
100%.
And that'll avoid any issues. So Fergal, thanks for being on the show. If anybody is interested in Celtic Dance Fusion, where can they find out more or get in touch with you?
Okay, we have a website, www.celticdancefusion.com. My mobile number is 086 3854 222. info@celticdancefusion.com is the email, and the usual suspects on social media. Instagram is probably the best, Facebook. I love WhatsApp because if a couple rings from overseas, it doesn't cost them. I can send them videos, I can send them links. Instead of emails, can be a little bit back and forth, whereas at least they can see the videos, and WhatsApp just seems to be working for me.
It's more conversational. And what I like is you can see that they've actually seen the message, where with emails, it could end up in a spam folder or something. They think you're rude, you never got back to them, and you're waiting on them, So WhatsApp is actually my preference too now.
Yeah, and I think it seems to be taken over from Facebook. It works for me, it works for you. So, I mean, if you're sending videos, you can send them the link. You can see that the 2 ticks, they've read it. And as I said, if there's people from overseas, WhatsApp, if they've got WhatsApp, it's costing them nothing, it's costing us nothing. So it just speeds up the process, because like yourself, there's an awful lot we've over 160 weddings booked in for this year. We've over 60 weddings booked in for next year. So dates are going fast. So, excuse me. So the thing is that if the couples are in contact, and they we can seal the deal, at least then that's put to bed, so we can move on. But back and forth 2 or 3, 4 weeks, dates are gone. We can't hold dates. I can only hold a date for about 72 hours, and then it's on the fly again. It's out there,
Yeah. Well, look, Fergal, thanks for being on the show.
Cheers.
And you have the green hat on. You're getting ready for Paddy's Day. I don't know when this episode is going out, but it'll be in and around Paddy's Day. So enjoy Paddy's Day, and hopefully we'll see you soon. And I know we have a gig coming up anyway this year, I think. So
yes, so we have a few gigs. Yeah, Paddy's Day is it's gonna be a funny one, because we're at a wedding, and they're 50% English, 50% Irish. England and Ireland are playing the Six Nations.
All right.
So I was like, oh, here we go. So these guys will definitely be on. Have a St. Patrick's Day. Have a fantastic Patrick's Day. We'll probably see St. Patrick's Day on the 19th, Monday, when we're all kind of chilled out, because it's going to be mental.
I'll be watching the Grand Prix on Sunday, and that's my chill out this weekend. So look, Fergal, thanks for being on the show, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Great stuff. Thanks, guys. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to the Wedding Band Show podcast, which was brought to you by the Brian McDermott Band and Pixel Productions.